Well, the United States and Pakistan have finally struck a deal to reopen supply lines transporting NATO troops in Afghanistan after the US apologised for the deaths of 24 Pakistani troops last year. The truck route is for the transportation of so-called non-lethal supplies, but they're crucial to the war effort. North America correspondent Jane Cowan reports from Washington.
Finally, the wheels are turning. After a 7-month stalemate that saw Pakistan shut down NATO's supply lines for the war in Afghanistan, the US has finally apologised for the airstrike that killed 24 Pakistani soldiers last November. In a statement, the US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton revealed she'd used the S word in a phone call with her Pakistani counterpart. "We are sorry," she said, "for the losses suffered by the Pakistani military. We are committed to working closely with Pakistan and Afghanistan to prevent this from ever happening again."
There were mistakes made on both sides that led to the tragic loss of life, and we are both sorry for those.
The border reopens not a moment too soon. An alternate supply route through Central Asia had been costing US-led forces an estimated $100 million extra US dollars a month, at a time when America's trying to bring troops and equipment out as well as in. After the invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, Pakistan initially gave free passage to NATO supplies, but then more recently began charging $250 per truck. In the wake of the November attack, and stung by the suspension of American military assistance last year, Pakistan began demanding $5,000 per truck, later lowering it to $3,000. The US had offered $1,000, but in the end there was no change to the fees.
We are going to be paying the exact same amount as we were paying before.
The US is expected to reimburse Pakistan to the tune of about $1 billion for counterinsurgency operations carried out by tens of thousands of Pakistani troops on the Afghan border. The breakthrough comes after a flurry of diplomatic contact between the two uneasy allies, most recently between Secretary Clinton and the new Pakistani Prime Minister.
Eventual exit of international forces from Afghanistan is in the interest of longer-term peace and stability in the region, and Pakistan should be seen as a responsible and cooperative member of the international community.
You think relations between US and Pakistan will be different under the new Prime Minister?
Well, as you know, he's just come into office. The Secretary's had one welcoming conversation with him, and we look forward to having a good relationship going forward.
The difficulty in reaching this agreement shows the delicate political line each government has to tread with its own domestic audience. Pakistan, conscious of anti-American sentiment, and the US President Barack Obama loath to give a full-throated apology in an election year where critics like to accuse him of being weak on the international stage.
Why did it take so long to come out and say sorry? I mean, this isn't an Elton John song here. Sorry isn't the hardest word to say. It's pretty easy to say.
I think this
why, you know, it's not a question about about parsing the statement. Why did it take so long?
Well, as we've been clear about for quite these many weeks, there were a number of issues that needed to be worked through that allowed us to get us to where we are.
With militants already threatening to attack NATO trucks, it's still a bumpy road ahead. Jane Cowan, Lateline.